What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York, back at St. Vitus for the third week in a row, and today we have an awesome guest. We are here with Shawna from War on Women. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, of course. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. Happy record release day.
Yay!
Yep. Be honest, you chose Friday the 13th deliberately.
No, I'm so glad. Actually, when Bridge 9 told us the release date, I was like, okay, cool, yeah, April 13th. I didn't even know at the time that it was a Friday.
I was interviewing a famous death metal band one time, and they were telling me that them and like four other bands on like the same label were like fighting for that.
It makes sense. Like, there's a lot of music out today, and I guess that's why.
It makes perfect sense.
So things might get weird here tonight at St. Vitus for our record release show, but weird is good.
It's a weird night every night at St. Vitus.
Fair.
Yep. But how was the recording and everything been for Capture the Flag?
That's a big question. I'll try to narrow it down. It was good. We did the drums and bass before we went out for a Warped Tour, and then we like finished guitars and did all the vocals when we got back, mastered it, and submitted it, and it's finally done. And so, like, in a way, it feels like we spent forever, like a year, working on the record because we took that break in the middle of it. And so we're just so glad that it's finally out and people can hear it.
Yeah, I was listening to it today, and I gotta say it's a really good like throwback, but like a lot of new school charm. Like, it has everything one could love about like Black Flag, Bad Brains, Sex Pistols, but
that's awesome. Thank
has
you.
some new school punk, so people who I think like Blink-182 or Green Day could also appreciate it as well.
There's a couple catchy parts, I admit.
Yeah, I've heard somebody compare you guys to Paramore before.
Well, that's just... nuh-uh. That's just silly. I think they need to listen to more women in music if they think that War on Women sounds like Paramore. No offense, Paramore. If you want to take us on tour, I'm all about it, but come on.
That'll be awesome. But I was always curious because I know your music has a lot of political conceptual elements behind it. What I was always curious about is, do you come up with a concept first and the band writes according to that? Or do you listen to the music and say, that's a good subject matter to think about?
You know, it's kind of both. Like, we attack it from all sides, so to speak. So maybe, Brooks has a riff and something comes to mind. Or I'll have a melody that I'm like, what could you play under this melody? I'm just going to sing it to you, And then a lot of times what I do is I'll just write down anything that comes to mind lyric-wise so that I have enough to work with when we start finishing a song. If I haven't already come up with something, like, I can mine through my little lyric book for good one-liners.
So do you think, like, you could tell by the overall outcome of the song, like, oh, lyrics were first on this, or the riffs were
Hopefully not. No, I don't think so. I think we try to keep it interesting for us, and hopefully it's interesting for everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously there's been a lot of bands that have political subject matter of all types, whether it be Rage Against the Machine or OTEP, or I know Ministry's latest record was very political. How did your concept kind of lead to the style of music that you guys play?
I mean, it was a deliberate choice, and it was kind of a decision that we made at the same time. It was, we want a heavier band, and we want to be overtly feminist, Like, and it was just like, I don't know, like a lightning bolt. Like, there was no other option. We felt that, one, we kind of wanted to get back to, Brooks and I had been in a band before this, and it was more just like indie and mathy. And I played guitar, and he played guitar and sang, and so we were both singing and playing guitar. But we wanted to do something different, and we wanted to kind of get back to our roots, which is, growing up with heavy punk rock. And just at the same time, we knew that we had to start talking about this stuff, the same issues that some of the same issues that feminists have been fighting for 100 years. So... yeah, it was just important to us that the anger that we were feeling around still having to put up with this shit could be represented musically.
Of course. Now, it's kind of, I've debated on asking this question or not, but I just, because, of the times that we are living in now and everything, does that make it a little bit easier to write the type of music that you do based on the climate that we're in?
It made it harder for me. I totally, when Trump was elected, I saw all the at least punk will be awesome again or something like that. And then I saw, of course, people responding to that with, who gives a shit about music? People are going to die. Mm-hmm. And I definitely subscribe to that. But for me, I was exhausted immediately just I felt defeated and deflated after the election, and so I wasn't inspired. I needed a break. It took me a while actually to really gear up to finish writing the record. I don't think it interrupted the music, because a riff isn't necessarily tied to a specific political event. But
I would love to hear that riff.
but yeah, I had to like check out for a few months and then get myself back into it.
But now that you're back into it, do you kind of look at this record cycle as kind of like a fresh turning point in your career as a musician, or are you just kind of like picking up where you left off?
No, it seems really fresh to us. We have a couple new people in the band, and I think that this record is already getting a little bit more interest than our last one, and so that's a really exciting thing, and it helps keep things interesting and fresh. And yeah, hopefully, if people like it, then we'll keep playing it, and if not, then we'll just play local shows at home.
Nothing wrong with that. And you guys are from Maryland, correctly, right?
Baltimore.
Yep. So Maryland, I've heard a lot of great stories about, all different types of bands coming from the Baltimore, D.C. area, whether it would be the punk scene or Animals as Leaders forming there. So was it kind of easier for you guys to maybe like get involved in a scene there?
I mean, there are a ton of bands, a ton of people playing music, a ton of really great stuff, all different genres. There's really great hip hop and rap. There's great shoegaze, so there's something for everyone. I would say when we started this band, like heavier music wasn't like super trendy. Like at least I feel like now we're in a pretty good time for heavy music. It's more acceptable. But in 2010, it was like not cool. So the hipster kids were not into it, right?
Ooh.
So it was hard. No offense to any hipsters, you're cool, but come on, you were into something else in 2010. Admit it. So it took a little while to find other folks that wanted to play music with us, to play this kind of music with us. But we did, because everyone grew up on Fugazi and Black Flag,
Oh, Black Flag. And you guys, I feel like, are a real good throwback to that style of music.
Cool.
At what made like the Maryland punk scene so great.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Now, I know that you've had a very busy year. You were on Warped Tour with so many freaking bands. I'm not going to name all of them. But what else could we be expecting for the Capture the Flag record cycle?
Well, we just hope to tour, just like we did for the last one. I felt like we toured for 2 years straight almost. Well, it feels that way when you're in your 30s and you have a real job and you have to pay the rent. So I just hope to do the same thing, go back to Europe and the UK. I'd love to go to Australia. We've never been there yet. That would be really cool. And I hope to incorporate more of the activism I do at home into what we do at shows or on tour. So I hope to actually get into colleges. We wrote a workbook,
really?
companion workbook for this record. So a professor at a university can teach one of our songs to their class, and they'll have notes on what the song's about and what it means, or a personal story from me, or links that explain the issue a little bit better.
I think Bad Religion did that one time. I could be wrong, but I think like the singer of Bad Religion like has like a textbook or something.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm hoping that we can talk to more people at colleges, and that I can do bystander intervention workshops with people, because what I do at home in Baltimore is I teach venues to become safer spaces, and so I'd be happy to do that on a tour, like coinciding with either playing with the full band or playing acoustic, just to get bystander intervention skills into the hands of more people.
Well, I went to SVA, so I'll be talking to those people.
Yeah,
they would love you down there.
That sounds good.
But I want to thank you so much for your time, Shawna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Everybody, we are here with Shawna from War on Woman. Pick up their newest record, Capture the Flag. If you like punk rock, you're going to love it. This is Alex from Heavy New York, back at St. Vitus, and we'll see you next time. Probably at St. Vitus as well.